everybody. Long time no see. Welcome to Board Game Breakfast, a weekly show, a variety show where we talk about board games and the people who play them. Hey, we have a contest in today's show. You can win a copy of Trek 12. Trek 12, that's important. Not to get Trek 12. Check, please. Trek 12. In fact, there's an expansion for Trek 12 called Trek 12 plus 1. Why can't I say Trek 12? Anyway, this is from Pandasars. And in this game, it's a journey through the Himalayas with your friends. Grab your pack and get ready for new paths and summit these crags. You have, there's different envelopes in here, and that's why the plus 1 adds an extra thing. I saw that. But how many envelopes are in here? That's the question. You have to go online and figure this out because I'm still looking myself. But here's the thing. All you have to do to enter this contest, and this is for folks in the USA only, you can win 1 of 2 copies, is to email us at contest@dicetower.com, put in the subject line the word climb, and then answer the question, how many challenge envelopes are included in Trek 12? Do you want me to open up and show you? No. Figure it out on your own. Alrighty, so anyway, thanks to Pandasars for that. Alright, folks, it's a new week, and I'll talk more about what's going on this week when it comes to what's happening this week, the Dice Tower production. So stay tuned. Essentially, we're playing games live all week. So we want to get to that. We're 2 weeks away from the Dice Tower retreat, so sponsored by Arcane Wonders. So that's exciting. And there's still a few tickets left. So if you want to come, you still can. You can go to Dice Tower. You can go to tabletopevents.com. Look for Dice Tower retreat. And Wednesday is the opening of the registration for Dice Tower East, which is at the Carib in Orlando. This is going to be a fantastic time. Sponsored by Portal Games. You're going to love coming to this, folks, with 1,000+ gamers who are there to play games with the Dice Tower library, which is fantastic now and will be even more fantastic 6 months from now. 7 months from now. It's in July. 8 months from now. I can't count 9. Doesn't matter. It's coming. All right. There's going to be hot games room. There's going to be a few events from the Dice Tower, but it's going to be mostly open gaming 24 hours a day, and you'll have a blast at a beautiful resort in Orlando, Florida. So again, that's at Tabletop Events, tabletop.events. You can sign up for that, but that's going to happen on this Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Please watch our Twitter at thedicetower.com or our Facebook group or Facebook post. We will be not spamming them, but we will be very loudly announcing that this is happening. So we hope to see you there. And of course, you can still come to Dice Tower West. I was just talking to Tim about Dice Tower West. It's going to be amazing. Alrighty. So that's all our announcements. Let's go to contributor, and we'll be right back.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, we are Ryan and Bethany.
From Ryan Bethany Board Game Reviews.
All right, today we're talking about Tiny Epic Defenders, but instead of the base game, we're talking about the expansion, which is The Dark War.
The Dark War.
This adds several new modules and modes of play. There is now a single story mode versus a campaign style, which isn't really a real campaign. It's more of like a longer one-shot of the same game.
A longer one-shot.
Basically. And it adds just a ton of more stuff. There's already just a ton of variety in the base game. A ton of epic foes, a ton of artifacts, a ton of characters. This adds a metric ton more. So there's basically with this, it adds infinite replayability. There's no way you could play through every scenario where you've used all of those.
Don't say that, because someone would be like, I did the
math.
It. Yeah, I just finished it yesterday.
But there's a whole lot of replayability. Not putting a number on it, but yeah, there's just so much different characters, artifacts, skills, villains, locations. It's insane.
Speaking of locations, all the locations had different locations that had this hostile or a friendly side to them. So in every game you play with one of the locations having hostile. And the reason why that I enjoy that is it kind of makes the game more difficult with what happens at that place when the terror or whatever goes up, the little fire mark goes up. I forget what these things are. Threat, sure. I just know like fire symbol when the fire goes up. But it kind of balances that out by making another one of those cards friendly. So it makes it more difficult while also helping you as well. So the difficulty is the same, but it feels more dire.
More varied.
Yeah.
You guys, this is a fun one, a great expansion. If you already like the base game and you want more, you get more.
Well, everybody, if you want to hear more from us, you can find us on Facebook or YouTube. We are Ryan and Bethany at Board Game Reviews. Everybody, this is Ryan. I'm Bethany. Hoping you have a happy, healthy breakfast.
Bye everybody.
Guys.
All right. Did you like seeing my cup holder? All right, let's go back 20 years ago, and we're taking a look at games that came out 20 years ago. And so today we're taking a look at another game that changed the industry quite a bit, and that's Zombies. This one has 3 exclamation marks. Zombies came out in 2001 from Twilight Creations, designed by Todd and Carrie Breitenstein. Now, Zombies is the game that really put Twilight Creations on the map. And in fact, if you go to their booth today, and they're still at many of the shows, they're all about the horror theme. That's kind of their jive there. But they have other games. Not Last Night on Earth. Well, you know what? I'm just going to click on Twilight Creations so that I can see what other games that they've come out with. Jupiter Rescue, which is a good one. Easter Island, which is one of their non-themed ones. Let's go by the number of ratings here, and we'll sort them out. And Zombies is their most rated game. Then Zombies 2, Zombies 3, Zombies 4, Zombies 3.5, Zombies 5. Then Humans, which is Zombies again. Then The Haunting House. Zombies 6, When Darkness Comes. Zombies 7, Medieval. That's the game I was thinking of. Zombie Town. And going down. Now, there is a kabillion Zombies expansions. I shouldn't say a kabillion. I think there's like 10. But so Zombies, when it came out, was very basic. You move zombies on a board, little plastic zombies, and you moved around and you tried to shoot them. And it was very roll and shoot. Try to kill stuff, and they would hit you. You're just trying to get through enough tiles to find weapons and to eventually get to a helicopter to get off. I do not know what all the expansions added. I may have played one of them at most. I do know at one point I mixed Zombies with Frag from Steve Jackson Games. There were rules online to do that, which was very fun. But Zombies was a very simple game. I'm looking here at my rating, which is a 6 out of 10, which I think some people would consider to be incredibly high. This game gets a lot of hate from a lot of people, but it also gets a lot of love from people. It has its big fans. And you got to kind of look at it in where it's at. So Zombies now feels like a fairly dated game. Again, it's 20 years old. But it's also a game that I think really brought the zombies to the main front. Before Zombies, there was very few board games that had zombies as a theme in them at all. I think there was Mall of the Dead or Mall of America, whatever it was called, M-A-U-L. And I'm sure there was other ones that were print and play, but this was the first one that I think had plastic zombies in it. And those plastic zombies are popular enough that they sell them in bags. If you go by their booth, you can buy a bag of zombies. I've done so because I used zombies in a game of Pandemic way back in the day. And I like having these little zombies around, and it's a fun little game if you take it for what it is. It's not a game that I would recommend to gamers. If you're watching this show, it's probably not for you. And the component quality is not amazing. And the component quality hasn't changed dramatically over the past 20 years. And yet, I still have a soft spot in my heart for this. It was one of the first games I played when I was getting back into the hobby. In fact, next year, 2022, we'll be celebrating 20 years of reviews from the Dice Tower. So this was one of the first games I reviewed. It came out in 2001, and I had a good time playing it. In fact, let me see if I can find my written review of it. It's been so long since I've done this here. Okay, so 15 years ago. Maybe I didn't review it. I thought for sure I reviewed it. If not, I just talked about it a lot. I don't see a review of it. Well, there you go. So, who knows? Let's see. Tom Vasel review Zombies. Maybe I didn't review it ever, which is interesting. Maybe I should go back and review it again. I reviewed City of Zombies, Eaten by Zombies, Zombies Teens, Zombies Kids, Zombie Tower 3D, Zombie Tsunami. There's too many zombie games now. So I blame this game for starting them all. But I mean, what can you do? Zombies are popular. And like I said, I had a good time playing it back in the day. It was not one that I kept playing for a very long time. Even though there was fewer games back then, this one kind of got tired for me a lot by rolling it. But again, I think it definitely changed the industry. It helped bring this horror theme and the zombie theme in particular here. So definitely one to check out if you like zombies and if you like little zombie figures. But I think it's more of a history museum piece for me at this point right now.
All right, let's get out of here before something else breaks. That's good.
Assalamu alaikum. Zombicide Invader Evil Within is a campaign-based storybook which are different from the game's own missions that come in the game itself. So these don't replicate the same missions. It gives you new missions which are going to tell you how to set up the maps in different ways. So these are all brand new missions. Plus, it connects them over an overarching story that's set like a prequel to tell you how this whole fiasco started in this planet where you are situated and how all this evil started, why the alien creatures started to react in the way that they started to react. It uses only the heroes from the base game, so everyone can play it. So if that's something that fascinates you and you want to add more life to your Zombicide Invader game, which is one of my favorite games, then check the link below to download this campaign book for free. Happy gaming!
Aha! You thought it would be the cup holder again. It wasn't. All right, so what's coming from the Dice Tower this week? So let's talk about this. This week here, as I'm looking here at this, so we're doing a thing called We'll Play It Live. It starts at 10 a.m. today. Then tomorrow it starts at 9, and I think the rest of the week, it usually will start at 9 with the exception of Thursday. It will start at 10 because Thursday is board game breakfast again. But in this, and we're going to split it into 2 different groups. So we're just doing that because of purposes of later on. If you make a video too long on YouTube, it takes forever to process it. So we're just splitting it up, but we're just going to play games. We're just going to pull games off the shelf and play them. It's almost going to be all new games, and some of them will be games we played before, and most of them will not. We'll be learning the rules on camera, which is always fascinating, and just having a good time, giving you our unfiltered opinions, probably, unless we love the game. We'll be just playing different games. I don't know what else to tell you other than there's going to be various games. I don't even know what the first game's going to be. They're going to bring it in and set it up. And then we'll be switching in and out, of course, with different people. So I won't be in the first game and other ones. But there will be other stuff that's going up. Our cut out playthroughs of games from the Autumn Spectacular are still being posted. We're putting up one of those each day. And I think that goes throughout this whole week still. And then I'm reviewing a few games over the weekend. So we're not doing this over the weekend. We're just playing the games live on Monday through Friday. But over the weekend, I'm taking a look at the new Vabank Wonder Book, Twinkle and Titans. Z is doing a game from Buttonshy called Horeos. And we got a review of Goonies Never Say Die, Lost Cities, the dice game from Brian, and more stuff. So keep an eye out for all of that coming your way. So that's what's coming from the Dice Tower this week.
Spooky, scary spook. What is up? My name is Matthew McCack, and this is Smashing Buttons and Slamming Cards. This is a segment where I talk about a video game I love and I connect it to a board game I love. And this week, I want to talk about Costume Quest. Costume Quest is this fun little game where you are running around trying to get other costumes and other friends, and you're going up against monsters and you're beating them up with your costume powers. It's really wacky, really fun, and cool. And I want to connect that to King of Tokyo, specifically with the Halloween expansion that comes with costumes. I'm connecting these two games because King of Tokyo is just sort of this wacky, good time, fun game where it's monsters versus monsters, but then specifically when you add in these like costumes and everything, it adds another layer to the game where you now have like different kinds of abilities because of the costumes, and that's sort of what's happening in Costume Quest itself. So that's why I connected them. They're both wacky, fun, good times. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like, you can check out mine and my brother's channel called Room 51. I'll catch you next time. I have this pumpkin decoration, and it's really cool, and it lights up, and why can't I light this up? Okay, it's lit. I don't know if you can really tell because it's daytime, but it's cool.
Out of focus, one punch! All right, so let's talk about game categories. And this is an interesting topic to me. It might not be to you, but it's something I think about because can we categorize games into broad categories? And of course we can. If I remember correctly, me and Joe Stedman, my original co-host on the Dice Tower podcast, a long time ago, I believe we did the 37 definitive categories of gaming, I think, which, you know, not talk about a clickbait title in that regard, but there is only so many categories of games. The problem is we have games that spill between categories and such, but what are those categories? So when I go to Board Game Geek, they actually have, you can browse the board game categories. So I'm looking here, and I look at them, and I'm thinking, these categories aren't what I would put because they're a mix. So for example, we have mythology. That's not a category, actually. I think that's more of a theme, maybe. Then Napoleonic. Well, that seems like a subset of war. Then we have nautical. What? Are these board games you play in the water? Then negotiation. Okay, we're back to mechanism. Now, do we separate categories by mechanism or by theme? Then novel-based. What? Then number, then party game. Okay, party game feels like a category. And then pike and shot, pirates, political, post-Napoleonic. What? All right, so when it comes to gaming, there's a lot of people who, there's a lot of two-category people. For example, war gamers have two categories of games. They're called war games and not war games. A lot of Euro gamers have the same thing. Euro games and trash. Ameritrashers have games that are Ameritrash games and not fun. Right, so there's these different, people tend to do that sort of thing. I think that there are some broader based categories of games. Now the problem is, determining what's in each category. And in fact, Board Game Geek has some bigger categories. I forget what they're called on the forum. They have families and different things. But if you go to any particular game, so let's say, for example, I go to, we were just talking about zombies. Zombies rank is 6,582, but it's ranked in thematic at 1,093. So they have, Board Game Geek splits their rankings into smaller groups. They have thematic, and they have, I forget what they all are. But this is what I would pick for, if we're taking about broad categories of games. I think, first of all, you would take children's games out completely. Children's games are their one whole category, and it's games that are specifically designed for children and for people who like heavy Euro games but pretend they want to play a party game. So that's children's games. Then war games, even though war is a theming, it just feels like it's a completely different thing, and it's almost a completely different hobby. Then we would have two adjacent hobbies, which are kind of part of board gaming, but also are, their own hobby in a sense, and that would be collectible card games, which is for sure its own hobby. And in fact, I think collectible card games and card games are two very different genres, two different categories. So collectible card games, and then the other thing that's almost its own hobby would be miniature games. And anything from Warhammer 40K to World in Flames, whatever it might be, again, it's a broadly based category. I think party games are their own category, even though sometimes it feels like the fewest, but then there's also the most. I was just at Barnes & Noble's over the weekend, and a ton of really bad party games are there, but it's definitely its own genre. Then card games, I mentioned that earlier, you know, trick-taking games or ladder climbing games or any kind of card game. That the vast majority is cards. Now, where card games stops and it's not a card game is definitely up for debate. So if we take out all those categories, which I think are pretty easy, then we're left with the vast majority of games. So if I go to the Dice Tower library and I take out war games, and I take out collectible card games, and I take out card games, and I take out party games, there's still 90% of the library left. So how do we categorize that part? You know, and so Board Game Geek does it. I think they have the thematic games and then what we call Euro games. I think Board Game Geek calls them strategy games, which I think is probably a better accurate descriptor of it. And that's kind of the two main categories, although you're going to find stuff that doesn't fit in those. And even with, you know, then you have party games. Is party games subdivided into straight party games, social deduction games, and word games? Or there are word games that aren't party games? I don't think anyone calls Scrabble a party game. And then with thematic and other things. So it's an interesting topic for me to think about, and categorizing games. And some people think that categorizing games is a bad idea, but I don't think so, because it helps somebody. If they say, hey, what kind of game is Ankh? And I say it's a strong thematic game with some Euro game elements, that kind of tells them, oh, is it a war game? No, it's not. Okay. You know, and things like that can help people. If I say this game is a party game, there are some people who go, good, I'm out. They don't like party games, and I get that. And there's other people who are more interested because it is a party game. You know, there's a lot of people out there who, it's almost like hip to not categorize stuff. But at the same time, it's very difficult to categorize some games. Is Sheriff of Nottingham a party game? Maybe. Is Looping Louie a children's game? Yes. You know, doesn't matter if you play it, it's still categorized as that. And how do we categorize shuffleboard and darts? Darts are not a board game! Okay, but what if I was magnetic darts, and you threw them, and you, if you hit a different area of the world, you conquered that area. And you say, what kind of ridiculousness is that? It's a game that actually exists. So it's kind of funny, all the different categories, and it's something that I would like to work on here at the Dice Tower at some point and bring out what I would think would be some definitive categories. I talked about Board Game Geek, but the thing about their categories is that these categories existed as it's kind of cobbled together over time. Now, categories and mechanisms can be put, but Jeff Engelstein did mechanisms, and I don't think mechanisms and categories are the same. We sometimes pick the main mechanism of a game and call that the category. This is a negotiation game. Well, sure, but not every game with negotiation in it we would consider a negotiation game. Negotiation is a mechanism. Just like deck building is a mechanism. Dominion, it's the only mechanism pretty much, but in let's say a game that just came out, Bitoku, deck building's a very small part of that game, really. You're not really deck building as much in there. No one's going to say, let's play Bitoku. It's a deck building game. It doesn't happen. So it's interesting, when does the mechanism be so big that it becomes the category itself? So I find it to be kind of interesting. You know, do we pick game categories based on theme? Train gamers do that. They play games that are about trains. If it's about trains, they don't care what the mechanisms are. There's a lot of train gamers like that. And war gamers sometimes fall in that category. Or do we go by mechanisms? Whatever the case is, everyone's going to argue about it till Kingdom Come, which is great, because then they'll keep watching our videos. That's what I'm thinking about today.
Hey there everyone, it's Jen the Board Game Librarian, flipping some pages and pushing some cubes with my delicious segment From the Page to the Table, where I pair books and board games together that clearly share a common theme. There's no spoilers today because I can't talk about one without the other. So today we're going to talk about Kim Joy's Magic Bakery, a new cooperative baking card game from Skybound Games. Thank you to them for sending it to me. The game is inspired by, of course, the British Bake Off contestant Kim Joy, who is an avid gamer herself. Last I knew, her husband owns a board game shop as well. So it's super fun seeing these two worlds collide, where Kim Joy's imaginative, fun, colorful bakes are really imagined quite well here in this cooperative game. She has 3 cookbooks that have come out. The most recent one I don't have displayed here, but it's Christmas with Kim Joy, and then Baking with Kim Joy. They're all super adorable things, way above my personal skill level, but if you're an avid baker yourself and you enjoy doing that kind of detail work, good for you. So this is a cooperative baking card game where there's a bunch of different scenarios where you can play, and you're looking to have customers come in, and you're essentially filling orders. I think this is a game that is perfect for folks who are not gamers. So if you are a British Bake Off fan, Kim Joy fan, I'd highly recommend that you take a look at her books that you could check out at your local library, and this adorable game from Skybound. Happy breakfast, everyone.
Out of focus, pumpkin! All right, folks. Today I want to talk about Hearthstone Mercenaries. So, Hearthstone is a online, I guess, collectible card game of sorts. That I guess it's not. It's a collectible card game. You don't have to spend any money in it. You can, but it's a fun game. I really love Hearthstone. I saw that in October they were releasing Hearthstone Mercenaries, which I assumed was another expansion for the game. And when they came out, I didn't put much thought into it. When it came out, I finally got around to playing it and realized it is not an expansion for the game. It's a new game mode for Hearthstone that is, in reality, a completely different game. It uses a lot of the art, it uses a lot of the special abilities. If you play different characters in it, you'll go, oh, I know this character from Hearthstone. But folks, I gotta tell you, the Hearthstone Mercenaries is my favorite way to play Hearthstone. Again, it's not really playing Hearthstone, it's a different game, but I am very obsessed with this game and really enjoying it. So what this game does is it gives you some mercenaries. At the beginning, when you first play, it gives you some starting mercenaries, and as you play through it, you can get packs and buy more mercenaries. And as a small, well, we'll come back to that later, but you can also buy packs and get things, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But you get these mercenaries, and each mercenary comes at level 1. And they're also one of 3 different types. You have fighters, which are green, you have protectors, which are red, and you have blue magic users, I forget what they're called. But there's 3 colors, blue, red, and green. And each person comes with that. They have an attack number on them, and then they have hit points. And when you play, you're going to play through a series of adventures, which is kind of roguelike to some degree. You pick a level that you think you can handle. So at the beginning, you pick level 4. Because that's the first series that you can play through. And you have these 3 characters. Each character at level 1 has 1 special ability that they can use. And so you make a party of 6 people. It will show you the bad guys that you're fighting. You pick 3 of those people to fight the bad guys. Then what you do is you pick the special ability they're going to use. Now, like I said, they all have only 1 special ability, so it's kind of obvious at the beginning. But once they reach level 5, they'll have 2 special abilities. When they reach level 15, they have 3 special abilities. But it's not even just that you only have 1, it's what you do with that special ability and which 3 people you put out there. So you'll pick the ability, which is usually an attack of some sorts, and you pick who you're going to attack with that ability. Each ability will do a certain amount of damage and also has a number of speed. So this game has almost no luck. Because when you play through it, you'll say, this guy's going to go first, he's going to do this much damage to this guy will go second, he'll do this much damage to this person. So you can kind of play it out. The only time there's any luck in the game is if 2 characters go at the same time. Like, let's say they're both going to go 5th, then it will randomize which of those 2 go first. So that's the only random thing in this. Also, the characters will do double damage to it's like a rock, paper, scissors thing. So the protectors do double damage to fighters, fighters do double damage to mages, mages do double damage to protectors. So it might seem obvious if I play a team and they're all blues, I'm like, well, I'm going to be playing all greens then, because I will do double damage to you. Sometimes the thing will say do an attack, and then you do your attack damage to them, but you also have these special abilities, like I said, and then as the game goes by, it gives you coins. Every time you win a battle, or when you go through one of these things, it gives you coins and coins and coins, and the coins are for each player, and when players get enough coins, you can upgrade their special abilities. They also get upgrades as they go up in levels. Like I said, when you get to level 5, you get 2 special abilities. Level 15, you get 3. And level 30 or something, you get more. I haven't got to that point yet. The highest I have is I have a couple level 21 characters. But I am really loving this, mixing and matching the different characters and forming different teams, and there's synergy between them. And like I said, there's no luck. This is a fantastic way to play. It has one flaw, I think, and that flaw is you can play this as much as you want. You can just keep going through and through and through and through again. And if you keep going through and through and through and playing a ton, you will, just like regular Hearthstone, get stuff to buy packs. But there is that thing in the background where you can always buy packs. And if you buy packs, you'll get more mercenaries or more alternate pictures of your mercenaries. Who cares about that? But also more coins for those mercenaries to be able to upgrade them. You can do it without ever doing any of that stuff. You can probably get everything in the game by playing, but you'll have to play 10 times longer than someone who might buy it. And if ever there was a temptation to do it, I felt a temptation to buy packs for this more strongly than I ever felt with Hearthstone. But that being said, I love it. If you like roguelike games, if you like board games, and you don't necessarily like luck, I mean, Hearthstone has luck in the cards, the order that they come out from the deck. This doesn't have that. But Mercenaries is so much fun. And I know that everyone likes something. In fact, I see someone here saying Mercenaries is definitely not worth a return to Hearthstone. Balderdash, okay? They're wrong. But he says he likes Battlegrounds. I don't like Battlegrounds, actually. I think Battlegrounds is not as fun and interesting for me. I've played it. So, there's different things that you will like about these. But I'll tell you what, Mercenaries is by far my favorite way to play this game. And if you are a board gamer, it's certainly worth checking out. You go through the tutorial, it teaches you how to play. When you're done with the tutorial, you have, I think, 4 or 5 mercenaries that you can, well, no, you have more than 5. You have at least 6 mercenaries that you can go through. And very quickly, you'll get a few more, and then start mixing and matching them. It's really interesting. Thumbs up for me. I'd give this a 10 out of 10. That's how much I like it. That's Hearthstone Mercenaries.
Hi everyone, I'm Doug Jr. from Doug & Doug Gaming, and welcome to A Fellowship of Meeples. Well, today I'm out here in front of one of my favorite places to have game night, and that is the Game Masters Guild in Crestview, Florida. But here's the question. What if this isn't available? Where else can you have game night? So, I always thought it'd be kind of cool to play a game down here at the beach. And we moved down here about 14 years ago, and I found out real quick that that wasn't going to work because it is always windy here at the beach. Pretty much goes for any outdoor gaming. You can do it if the wind's not blowing, but otherwise you really got to have some kind of good shielding from the wind. So outdoors, especially down here at the beach, is not a dependable place to have game night. So then another thought is a local restaurant. And some of them have nice big tables. I know this one has one nice large table. However, we have to remember that when we're using up table space at a restaurant, that means they can't get more customers through, and some of them don't like that, especially these days when so many of them are short-staffed. So be sure and talk to the manager about that. Make sure they're absolutely okay with it and that they understand the time period that you would be there. Overall, restaurants haven't been a good place, in my opinion, to have a game night. And then my last suggestion for today is the public library. Now, this could be a great place. I've done a lot of gaming at the library. The downside to the library could possibly be the hours. They close kind of early, at least ours does. So that might be a problem for you. And I don't mean to just give you a lot of problems with these different places, but I'm kind of wondering, what places can you suggest having your game night at? I'd be curious to know. Maybe you have some wonderful ideas, but hey, I'll look forward to seeing those in the comments, and thanks so much for watching this episode of A Fellowship of Meeples.
Out of focus marbles! All right. Also, Doug forgot to mention his house. So if you live in his area, he'll gladly host everyone to come play games. Also, clubs, sometimes you can rent out their areas, but that could be kind of pricey. All right, folks. Well, that's it for now. So here's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be going offline for 25 minutes. Then we'll be back with Let's Play It Live, starting at 10 with some sort of game. I don't know what it is, but I need to get off air here so we can set up, We'll see you all in a bit. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel. I was waiting for someone else to say something. There's no one else. And you've been watching Board Game Breakfast.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production.